school is supposed to be identified as a safe space and place, and that, when you have many eyes looking at you, it's almost like a shaming process of being handcuffed, because being handcuffed there's nothing good that comes out of that. So the social stigma surrounding that can be really impactful, and it can make a person feel really anxious or depressed. They can also feel, again, very much traumatized by it. So feeling helpless, feeling worried, possibly feeling confused. And then also, the anger that can lie behind, that process. And all of those things can be very, very complicated or even exacerbated depending on the reason why they were handcuffed, right? And oftentimes when we see kids who are handcuffed, it's not really for the best reason. It might be used as a form of punishment versus as a way to keep everybody safe. And it might be used, and typically it is used, not correctly, right? And so it seems to be unjust, and the kids, they know that. And so they have to carry that weight on their shoulders. So for kids with disabilities, particularly like developmental or learning disabilities, so developmental disabilities, the reason why there are higher rates there, because kids with those factors, so kids with ADHD, for example, is considered a developmental disability. Kids with intellectual disabilities, kids with learning disabilities, kids who may have autism and be on the spectrum. These group of kids are still maturing and developing, and may not be at the typical rate of other kids that attend school. So what I mean by that is that sometimes they can be functioning lower in terms of intellectual cognitive capacities, meaning the way they think about their world and how they engage in their world. Also, their emotional and behavioral systems could be completely dysregulated more easily than kids who may have more internal resources to regulate themselves. And when things like that happen, they may act out behaviorally or emotionally be explosive. And then people start to, like the adults in the school may start to feel, or the authorities in the school may start to feel like, okay, this kid needs to be controlled immediately. And they may forget that there are different approaches to help a child who can be easily dysregulated or emotionally dysregulated. There are other opportunities or situations where we can help bring down the escalation. But oftentimes it's not viewed that way. It's viewed as, we need to punish this kid. We need to nip it in the bud and control this behavior. When in actuality, kids with disabilities, again, part of their systems are immature and they're still maturing. And so because it's not as mature as some other kids who can regulate themselves a little bit better, they often tend to get pinpointed or easily identified, sometimes as targets to just immediately, we have to control this kid because they're uncontrollable, when that's not necessarily the situation. That's not the whole picture.